Sucker-muckagus.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Blazing the steel. Bring the heat. Mix it non-stop with the hottest DJ.
I'm your host, Joshua Diaz.
Non-stop.
There is no investigation. This boy has...
There is not, really? This to me.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy
There
has...
is not, really? This to me. Rise, idiot.
I've done my best. It's hard, that's real tough.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
What's up?
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Good to see you. How's it going?
Don't say any F's
Hit that
and
like
stuff.
button on the way in. Police.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
It's true.
There is
You
no
really are.
investigation. This boy
There
has...
is not, really? This to me.
How much more
But I have to put her
of this
on the side and worry about the boys.
insanity can we take? Apparently a lot, I
But I
guess.
have to.
That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion because
There is no
it
investigation.
seems to just
Don't
every
say any F's and
day,
stuff.
each case, we push it a little further, a little more insensitive, a little more expert, a little more this, a little more that, and a lot of nothing to show for it.
On the side and worry about the boys.
Sorry I wasn't here yesterday. On unforeseen circumstances, everything's fine. I needed away from this case, and it was a good thing because I don't mind covering this case, but I also I get really frustrated when, so I sat out the entire Kylie Rodney case. I just did. While a lot of people were, building their channels off of a situation that I had no expertise in, which is most situations actually, and speculation to the 100th degree, and so on and so forth, but I had to sit that out because it at a point does become unethical, and but that's a battle for each person to deal with on their own. These fake audio leaks, these fake, whatever you want to call them. And now, once again, we're blaming. I saw some jerk off on Twitter. I'm not even going to say his name. I don't even know if any of you know. Maybe you do, but I don't care. He's a jerk off, and I'll say it to his face. He said he was equating Candace Wells to Dylan, saying that Candace was high on drugs when Summer went missing, but Candace didn't wait 8 hours to call Summer or call 911. And that it's classism and so on and so forth. And I'm like, look, I'm all for having a hot take. I'm all for having a salacious take. But like, put some thought into this. Put some thought into this. I mean, you sound like an idiot. And I asked him, and of course I haven't heard a response, nor will I probably hear a response. But he says is, I said, well, how do you know when Summer went missing? How long do you know? Or how long had Summer been gone before Candace called the police? How long, like, do you know when Summer went missing? You know what time she went missing? Like, you got all that figured out? But just to even equate it to this girl, this young lady, Dylan, is something straight out of a mental institution. Straight out of a mental institution. And critical thinking is more critical. You know, we got to be more critical of critical thinking, I guess it would be the way to put it. I've never heard such things. I've never, ever heard such things. And then this whole, but you're gaslighting. I was getting this a lot. Josh, you're gaslighting us by not even allowing us to ask the question. You can ask the question all you want. If you want to sound like a jerk, go ahead. If you want to be the most insensitive person in the world, go ahead. But don't hide it behind the guise of, I'm only asking questions, because that's baloney. It's absolute baloney. It is you trying to be able to ask your stupid questions, these stupid questions. It is so ridiculous. And I see Kayla says, but people discuss these cases to ask questions. Okay, well, ask the right questions, because I'm totally over this weird, you know, aren't we allowed to ask? Well, you can ask whatever you want. It's not gaslighting. It's called, you know, being for the victim. She was cleaning up her drugs. She was this. She was that. She was this. She was that. What answer are you going to get from this young lady? What answer are you going to get from her that's going to satisfy your needs? It's weird. It is so weird. Colby and Tina, thank you for becoming a member. And I don't even know, and listen, blaming victims is never okay in my opinion. I'm not even saying that, like, well, they kind of are blaming the victims, but like, check, let me put this to you in a way that you can understand. First of all, if you've never been in a room with a killer, if you've never ever been in the room with a killer, hiding for your life, I watched a guy pull a refrigerator out of a wall to hide from a killer. Then he moved away for 30 years and nobody could find him. Nobody knew what happened to him. And, you know, so on and so forth. I think people don't understand. They don't understand. This young lady was face to face with the devil. The devil himself. Evil in the flesh. Okay? And if you don't think that people hide in closets, under beds, for hours at a time, in corners, somebody says she should have called the police and just let the phone ring. I didn't even think of that. Probably should have. But I didn't even think of that because, first of all, I wouldn't have wanted to make a phone call. so that person could hear that I was there. I wouldn't have wanted to make that phone call. I would have froze. And then to jump on your phone and go, 911. Why? So he could just walk right in there? She was trying not to be detective. My grandmother the other day, I was discussing this with her. Her very first husband, who she divorced from and then married my grandfather many years later, held a double-barrel shotgun to her head. And she said, just after years of abuse, she said, just do it. Just do it. And what she was doing was she was pontificating. She was bluffing. She put her head right up to it and said, do it. If you're going to do it, just do it. And as she's telling me this story, 50-something years later, she starts crying. And she says, I've never been that scared in my life. And then she says she sat there. I said, you call the cops? No. Why? I don't know. I just sat there crying. And it was horrible to have to hear that. It's horrible. And so, you know, this whole it's not it's not gaslighting. It's not anything other than people looking for an angle to sensationalize something for their own curiosity when we aren't even acquainted with all of the facts. And by God, we are not acquainted with all of the facts. Does she owe an explanation of what she did? Yes, to the police. Just tell them, but make no mistake. Make no mistake. She's a victim. And if you don't think that she's a victim, or if you admit that she's a victim and you still have those issues where you want those questions, then you are going to question. You probably don't question things in your own life, but you want to question things in everybody else's life. You know, it's the whole, you know, you're so nosy, that's why your nose is so big, you know, that's type situation. And frankly, it's just weird. It's weird, and it's, oh, but Josh, why can't we ask the questions? Ask whatever you want. But, you know, the people, by the way, that are asking these questions, and I've seen them, and they're notorious for having terrible takes everywhere else on the internet. Notorious for having terrible takes. I mean, there's people out there that are trying to bring up the Kylie Rodney situation again because it was so popular with the conspiracy theorists. Because it draws a crowd. You don't think it's just, you know, 858-299-2504. If you have a take, go ahead. Let me know. I'd love to hear it. But Josh, we can't ask. Why can't we ask the question? Look, you can ask it other places. What are you insinuating here? Oh my God. Okay, let's just say for instance that she was drunk. Okay, which, you know, I don't know if she was or not. It could happen. Who cares? So what does that change? Do we know that she knew that her roommates were killed? No, we don't know that. Do we know what she's done, what she did in those hours? Nope. And yet we're ready to crucify her for something that she didn't do. I read the affidavit. It doesn't insinuate her at all being a part of these crimes. None. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. So, whatever. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, Josh. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I wanted to call in just really quick this evening because I was going to last time you were on, and the evening kind of got away from me. I just want to say, yeah, people do not know what they will do until they're in a situation. Thank God I've never been in a situation like this, but something that I have been through is that my daughters were in a school shooting. I had one who was a freshman. It was August 30th, 2010. Gives me feel a pit in my stomach when I think about it. But a man came into their school. The resource officer held him at gunpoint. They were gunpoint to gunpoint. He was trying to pull the fire alarms to get the kids out so he could shoot. She lured him away from the fire alarm. And my girls at that time, my youngest one, got into stuff a lot and didn't have her phone. I had revoked her phone privileges, and so they couldn't get in touch with each other. My two kids didn't know if each other was okay because they shot and killed the man. The SWAT team came in and shot and killed him, and so all they heard was gunfire and not knowing if each other's sister was okay or what was going on. But what I'm getting at is they also in this case tried to do the same thing to this resource officer because she held him at gunpoint. They literally were gun to gun for several minutes. The video is on YouTube. You can find it. But they said, well, she should have shot him. And I was just thinking, you don't know. Put yourself at the end of another person's weapon, even though you've got one too. Chances are very good that if you move to fire, they're going to as well. And until you get that call, and I got that call of don't panic was the first words that they said. And we were literally standing beside my mother-in-law who was dying. She died the next day. And it said, don't panic. There's been a shooting at the school. And I had two kids there. And people just need to stop blaming this girl. I don't care if she had drugs. I don't care what she had. I don't care. I just don't care. You cannot. I can't. I've never been there. Never been in her position. Why would I even try to figure out why she did what she did? You're right. Only she knows that, and she only needs to tell that to the police.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it'll come out at trial, I'm sure. But I mean, what? Sure. But even if she says, "Oh, I was just frozen in fear," the people that are still asking that question, they won't care. They won't care because everybody.
No, they won't, and they're going to re-victimize her at trial.
Oh, big time. But I you know what? I hope that they prepare her very well for this because it's going to be difficult. However,
so do I.
It's just it's an asinine question. I don't understand why the question is being asked the way that it's being asked. She didn't have anything to do with this. Nothing.
No.
Okay, so you want to call her scared?
And okay, it wouldn't have changed anything. Yeah.
I don't know if
I don't know
if it would have or not. Now, what I mean by that is, people say, well, what if they weren't dead? I don't know. What if they would have caught up to him faster? I don't know. But why is that her responsibility? Why is that her responsibility?
It's not her responsibility.
She's trying to save her life.
It's not.
Yeah.
And you can look at this a million different ways and say, what if, but unless you're her, mm-mm.
No, she's not. She's not working security for the house. She lives in the house.
Nope.
And she she saved her life, her own self, because that's all
Exactly.
she knew what to do. I mean, she doesn't even know what
And
was
helped
going on.
identify him.
Exactly. Imagine.
So she gave a description, a good description, to help identify him.
Those are
at
bushy
least
eyebrows
his
if I've
height,
ever seen them.
They definitely need to
Looks
go
like the dad on
to the
American
salon.
Pie.
Maybe his roommate will pluck his eyebrows for him.
Yeah, Bubba. That'd be nice.
Yeah, Bella. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your
So,
phone call.
I don't know though. Well, you're welcome.
I agree with you. It's terrible.
I've called you before.
Let's see.
Well, yeah.
It says you have.
I just thought about that last night. I was just like, and just talking about that absolutely puts a pit and just give you the sick pit in your stomach.
Yeah.
Because just remembering back and still every time I talk about it, start talking about it, I get that sick feeling.
It's the worst kind of. It's the worst. It just gets worse and worse every case.
Yeah, people need to just, there's this old saying, be kind, and just be kind. My God, people, like I say, unless you're there, you don't know what you would have done, unless you've been on the, in that situation. So I won't take up any more time.
I appreciate you. Thank you for
Have
calling.
a good night.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, Josh.
A great call. It looks like we got a first-time caller on the air here. Maybe they're going to yell at me about my stance. Hey, caller, go ahead.
Josh? What's up, Josh?
What's going on?
This is my mother and I watch your lives every now and then. It's like a thing for us. She watches every day. I hardly watch the live.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I come in for the intro.
What can I do for you? I appreciate that.
I just want the world we live in. I don't want to sound stupid on the stream. It's just, the world we live in is crazy. You got all these crime stuff going on. I don't really know. Sorry,
Andrew. Is that your name?
No, it's Cody.
Okay. No, you don't sound stupid by saying that at all. It's the truth. I mean, the weird thing is we go about our lives on a daily basis thinking that we're all safe and good. Fact of the matter is anybody can climb through our windows at any time or try and bust our door open at any time. And it's terrifying.
And this is why it's not safe to travel on your own to go to DC or anything. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know some threat is going to happen or anywhere really.
You're right. And I feel as though, I was looking at homicide rates the other day, like clearance on homicide rates, and it seems like even fewer are getting solved as well. Crime is up and the solvability rate is down.
My mom mentioned, we started watching around the time of the Summer Wells case.
Oh, okay.
And I'm surprised that's going on for so long. That's gone on for so long. It's poor little girl. We'll
be looking for that new podcast. The first episodes are going to drop here about mid-January. I'll post the link, but yeah, it's called 110 Ben Hill, and it'll be a podcast that you guys will be able to. It'll be an audio podcast that you'll be able to listen to.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for calling. Anything else?
You're welcome. What do you have advice for starting a podcast? What would be your advice?
To do it. I get asked that a lot, okay? And people say, well, what should I do? Don't talk about it, do it. If you want to do it, do it. You know what I mean? And then just figure it out as you go. I mean, there are a million different ways to do it now, and it's open for anybody. Basically, all you need is any kind of USB microphone and a computer, and you can start a podcast. I would encourage you to give it a try. Also, you can email me at the Lab Rat Army if you have any questions.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
All right. Take care,
bud.
Thank you.
Bye.
It's a great call. Loved it. Caller, go ahead.
Hey, Josh, it's 616. I just want to let you know I got some corn dogs over here waiting for you.
I like homemade corn dogs. They're
I know.
fantastic.
All right, good show, brother.
All right, thank you so much.
No.
Homemade corn dogs, man. That's my style. That is my style. Caller, go ahead. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Josh.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Hey. Doing better. I'm glad. I just gotta say, I'm glad you took a break. I hope you had a good night. I actually did. I said that in the chat earlier. It's Mindful Mama Ray.
Yeah, no, I see it. Absolutely.
But yeah, I was saying that it was nice to have a break because honestly, I really truly don't indulge too much in the true crime because I don't know. I soak all that up, and honestly, like I'm here with my daughter alone, and I'm kind of scared because this case, it gets to your head, and there's a lot of that. So I will say, last night it was nice taking a break. And
I don't even know how much longer I can go on this particular case because I really feel like it's the entire, and no disrespect to the victims or their families, but everything else that's been around outside of it has been just kicked around so much. Nothing new is going to come out. There's a gag order. This is where everything kind of grinds to a halt, and not unfortunately, actually, I'm actually glad because what's going to happen is the interest in this will subside a bit until the trial, which is good. But, with all the criticism of just people involved in this case, it's really, really hard to keep up with. And trust me, there are people that are going to just milk it for everything that they can, Kylie Rodney style. And I just can't do that. I will not do that. I can't. The reason I can't do it is because, first of all, I don't need to do it for content. Like, I could do a show literally about anything. And I will, and I have. But at the same time, I'm just really frustrated with this.
I'm right there with you. Honestly, it's like exhausting. So I definitely, it's good that you took a break, and that anybody takes a break. But I definitely have seen that where people they will pick things apart and, just like you said, just milk it, and it's exhausting. And I don't even see how they could like live that way, but I guess they do for their own reasons. But, that's another thing. I'll say it a million times. That's why you have all of us here. I see all these awesome people that are here all the time. And you bring more to our lives than just this other stuff these other YouTubers are bringing, which is nice. So just want to say that I really appreciate your kindness as a person. You can just tell the way you treat your callers, the way you treat, anybody. You stick up for the people that need to be stuck up for, and you're kind to the people. Well, you're just kind. You're a kind person. So I just wanted to say that and tell everyone here, stay kind, stay curious. That's something I tell my kid all the time. It'll keep your heart open and your mind open, and you won't question those things, and you won't ask stupid questions. If you're kind and you're curious, you'll just listen and you'll observe and learn from other people. And, that's all I have to say. Anyway, just wanted to say hello.
Thank you. Thank you for calling. I always appreciate it. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Have a
cut her off. Sorry, sweet Mama Ray. Caller, go ahead.
Hi, Josh. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Boston in the house.
Okay. Does it come up? Does it come up with the 781?
Yeah, it does.
It was not the accent.
And the accent. Yeah, I don't even need to look at the screen.
Okay. When I called 2 or 3 nights ago, I said I was done, and I really was done until perusing YouTube this afternoon. The mattress that wasn't fully covered, and the fake audio that I wouldn't listen to. I can't believe. Please go, because I don't understand what's wrong with people, even faking it. Like, there's just no decency anymore. Like, everything is open season.
I saw the news was
like
showing them bringing
it. Be heard, but seen. I don't know. That's my opinion. Other people say, I don't know. Like, I know it's a choice, but as a like, that's a choice I just couldn't put it out there. I don't know. I just take it from me, because I can't. I'm believe it or not, speechless, which is not something that happens often.
I understand your frustration, and I'm kind of with you on this. I mean, if there's more information coming out, we'll discuss it. But at some point, we're gonna have to just stop. At least I am.
No sympathy on. Oh.
Yeah, I can't go much longer on it.
For class, but like, what's really relevant? Like, why would you put something so cruel, or like, why would someone want to listen to that if it was real? Don't they think of the past? Like, why? Why would someone put that out there? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm a little old, so the thought of things like some things just don't need to be known. Like, until a trial, I guess, and those people within. But it just seems someone faking an audio is terrible. Is totally cruel. And if it was real and somebody posted it, it's even like, why would you do that? Why would you listen to? I couldn't. I think this is such a horrific crime, and we've found out so much information already. I don't know. This one seems really overloaded for some. Maybe because it is horrific, and it involves young adults in college and the boogeyman, so to speak. So all those elements just like added up, just makes it so interesting. And then you just, like you said, overload. I was overloaded with the victim blaming at the end of last week when the affidavit came out. And then this afternoon, I thought, why is someone drawing over a mattress that was covered in a white, cover, and trying to make an hypothesis? It just, and then the audio. Oh my God, which I didn't listen to. I just read a description, because if it's true, I don't want to hear them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, does that satisfy? Does that satisfy anybody's sick, depraved, mind? I mean, I remember when the movie Scream. Remember that it was like a trilogy, huge trilogies. Wes Craven's Scream. It was about a knife, a wielding murder, killing young kids, college kids specifically.
And didn't he have the white mask? Was that the white mask one? Because I wasn't into horror movies. Yeah. But I have the gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was the biggest thing. Like, everybody's like, oh, this movie is cool. Yeah. And it was, I mean, if you think about it, it's actually absolutely, I mean, not the movie itself, but the premise is terrifying, right? Well, this is that in real life, but this is not a movie. This is
horror is a genre versus, yeah, exactly.
And people treat it like it is.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy, like a point, because to see a movie, and some people love the horror genre because you get the adrenaline, you get the screaming, and it's like a fix. But like you said, in real life, like, my stomach turns just thinking that there was an audio out there, and even just mentioning it, my stomach turns again, because I think like one of those parents. And I actually thought, if I was a parent, would I listen to it or not? But I know I won't listen to it as not the parent of someone. of that happened too. But I thought, oh my, it's already horrific enough. I don't know. I just don't think people think about other people, including the victims and their parents.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, like I said, everybody's a fan of horror movies until they have something horrific happen to them in real life, and then they're not as fun. It's just I'm with you. It's one of those things where we get perplexed, and some people just have nothing in their head to tell them, this is not right, this is wrong. And then when you tell them that, they go, you're gaslighting me. You're hindering my freedom of speech. I'm just asking the question. I don't know.
I got words like now the word of 2021 or 2022 because I didn't know what it meant. So that's like the big psychological term I think in the last few years.
Absolutely. Gaslighting. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I never knew what that. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your phone call.
I mean, at least. No, I've been on this and I just need to be off of it.
All right.
Well, have a good night and thanks.
Take care. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, no, we're just asking questions. We're just asking questions. Shut up. Not true. Not true. I mean, I guess you are. You can think about it like this. Okay. So you're at some person's house, some lady's house. You go over there with, I don't know, your youth group. This older lady's hosting I don't know, a revival. Okay. And she says, and you're sitting there, you're looking, going, wow, I wonder how old this lady is. She looks in pretty good shape for I wonder how old she is. And you're like, should I ask her? No, you shouldn't. Why? Because it's not important. God knows how old she is. She knows how old she is. Dylan knows what she told the cops. The cops know what Dylan told them. Let's get back to the devil slasher that was walking around in that house. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hi, I just want to tell you a story about, this was a while ago, but my understanding of personal fright and how it messes with your head. I was sleeping and my burglar alarm went off. So I got my 38 out, closed the bedroom door, called 911, had my dog in the room with me, and the dispatcher was telling me the police were coming. And she goes, can't you just open your bedroom door and yell, hey, if you're out there, the police are coming. I'm like, no, I don't care if he takes everything in the house.
Right.
and so then I hear Phoenix police, and I'm thinking, why are there men in my kitchen? It didn't even, she said the police are out there, so don't shoot them. I said, oh God, don't worry, I'll put the gun away. So so I opened my bedroom door and I go, these men in my kitchen, and my dog ran out and the cops ran out the door. They came back in. I was just so scared. My garage door was open and my back door opened somehow. I don't know how.
Right.
The point was, I was so scared. It didn't even occur to me those men were police officers, but I had called. So if I was that gal, I would have been in the corner sucking my thumb.
People do that all the time. I don't understand. People hide under beds. They hide in closets. They hide wherever they can from people that are, when they perceive them as a threat. I don't understand how this is some new idea. It's like when COVID came out and everybody say, well, wash your hands. Well, geez, have you not been doing that before? Like it's something that's been done since time immemorial. I am baffled by that. Like, I am so baffled by people thinking that doesn't happen, because I'm telling you right now, it happens all the time. People hide from people they perceive as a threat all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's just weird. People.
Yeah,
How do you not understand? You know.
You have to have an instinct for survival as a human being. And if people want to question that, then that's on them.
It's just weird. I really don't understand the whole thought process here. Like, first of all, everybody that wants to know what her issue was, has obviously never. By the way, quadruple homicides with a knife are like almost. I mean, it rarely happens like this. Okay, and she didn't know exactly what was going on. And even if she did, she was in survival mode. She was scared. She was terrified. People hide from people all the time. They just do. So it's just, I mean, what do you know? At what point do you just kind of go like, half of the general population's dumb? Dumb.
Every morning.
And like, I'm not even saying that like, just because you want to know the answer to that question. Look, I am genuinely curious as to what she was doing, but whatever she says, I'm good with. And even if she never says, I'm good with it. I don't care that much, because to me, that's not the story. The story is Brian Koberger walking into this house in the middle of the night and killing 4 innocent people. And it would have been 5 had he saw her.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was out for it. He was absolutely nuts.
Think about this. What are the odds that this is just some random psycho in the neighborhood that went in and did this? This is the stuff of horror movies, and because you want to think, oh, there must have been a reason. Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah.
But
I mean, maybe he interacts. It wouldn't be odd for people from Washington State to go over to Moscow, or people from Moscow to go over to Washington State and party. I mean, they're not very far from each other. But he may have interacted with them somewhat in some way, or and maybe one of the girls was nice to him one day, and then the next, I mean, there's a million different scenarios. The fact of the matter is that families didn't know of him, so they obviously weren't close. And he seemed a little old to be partying with, like, undergrads and, things like that. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird. And I'll have more thoughts on that guy later as the show goes on, because I read an article that about sent me over the edge. And when I say sent me over the edge, like, legitimately, I was reading it, and instead of like because I was in disbelief of the article, I laughed out loud to myself, which I rarely do. Like, I don't really laugh out loud when I'm alone. And I felt like I was like reading something in an insane asylum. Like I was a crazy person reading this. And I'll read it to you guys here in a bit, but I really appreciate your call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hi, Josh.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I wanted to share an experience that I had. He was 13 at the time. My son had a 4-wheeler accident, and he had a traumatic brain injury. And when we got to where he was, I could tell that he was in trouble. And the EMTs came in the ambulance, and they brought a helicopter into the hospital. That's how critical he was. But after I had checked on him, and I had already lost one son when this happened, and I had just kind of walked away, and I don't remember much except that EMT, who is a family friend, started talking to me, and I finally paid attention. My mind had just gone, from it had just gone. And later when I saw her, she apologized for yelling at me. I don't remember her yelling at me. So it's, when you're in something that traumatic, your mind just shuts down, doesn't work properly. Just, if she hadn't have been there and yelled at me and brought me back, there's no telling where I would be today. I lost it. I was gone. It was like my brain could not deal with it. And I can just imagine Dylan. Oh, bless her heart.
I know.
She just was scared to death. And she was froze. She said she froze. She was afraid to move. She was probably afraid to even breathe,
Yep.
And I would like to know what people that are making all these comments, I'd like to know what they would do if they'd been put in that situation.
Oh, well, you know what? In some of the really rude ones, it's like you almost wish, I wish you could experience a tenth of what her fear was. Not even the whole thing, just a tenth, a fraction of anything. Look, I'm telling you, I've seen it. I've seen it with my own two eyes. I've seen the fear. I've seen people sleep with knives because they were terrified of what was going to happen. I've seen it. I was raised in it. And we would go around
I can imagine,
and check the locks every night before bed. Every night I made my grandparents do that. Every night. And it was an irrational fear. And I was just little, but just like you, who has gone through something so traumatic, people don't understand. And they'll never understand if it hasn't happened to them. Everybody is a Monday morning quarterback. It's insanity.
Yeah, but by the grace of God and lots of prayers and God working a miracle, he is 26 years old now.
That's awesome.
Father of two and married, has a job. But I just knew, like I said, I'd already lost one child. And I just knew I was going to lose another, and my mind just could not deal with it, the trauma.
Wow.
And I went blank. So
I'm so happy that he's doing well. I know it's just a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
I've said this before. The worst day of my life was when my son had and by the way, when I say that it's the worst day of my life, because although my mother was shot and killed, which is probably the greatest tragedy that I will ever experience, and hopefully, but as a parent, I watched my son have a seizure on Christmas morning. I watched it out of the blue, and I thought he was going to die. And it was, and I remember I got the phone call about it, and I was like having trouble speaking.
Yeah.
And it's just horrific, and so, but I thought that my son was going to die, just probably the same way that this girl thought that she was going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just terrible. Well, I appreciate your phone call. Thank you.
You're welcome. You have a great evening, and I'll talk to you later.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, a couple more here. And then, let me see. Since nobody else calling, I'm going to suspend new calls. I got a couple more here, and then we'll move on to that article that I've been wanting to talk about. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, Josh. First-time caller, but been a member of yours for several months.
Thank you.
I wanted to kind of weigh in a little. Sorry about my dog barking.
That's all right.
Anyways, I wanted to weigh in just a little bit on this whole bashing and criticizing, and what our witness, she's just as much a victim in this whole matter. None of us, I don't care how prepared we are, how much training we might have, not a single one of us can really know what we would do.
Of course not.
In a situation of any kind. And, how we don't know her past. We don't know what prior traumas she may have been through. And there's so much that we don't know. We can't judge her. And I've been just, channel after channel after channel. Everybody is re-victimizing her by criticizing. Why didn't she call 911? Maybe she was in shock. I mean, I had an incident that I've actually shared quite a bit over the last, since this affidavit came out. And that incident was something that happened so fast. And it wasn't to me, but it was to one of my children. But it was so severe that the shock that hit me, I honestly cannot tell you how I managed to deal with the situation, except for I somehow must have gone on autopilot. But I cannot remember feeling the ground below me. I felt like I wasn't even in my own body. I couldn't see anything from side to side. I mean, it only what was directly in a straight laser light position, straight forward. And I was in that state for over 2 days. And of course my situation was nowhere near as severe as what this young lady has been through. But it's like, we don't know anybody's way of dealing with shock or stress. And I wish people would quit bashing her and condemning her. We weren't there. We weren't in that situation.
And let me tell you exactly, and I'm going to just put this bluntly for people. Let me tell you exactly why people do this. It's controversial, and it's quote unquote edgy, and it's fringe, and there's a lot more fringe people than critical thinkers out there. And by the way, I'm Occam's razor. I'm not, I don't want to talk about 9/11. I don't want to talk about aliens. People feel however they want about this.
Right.
Those subjects, they do it for monetary value. Okay. If my title tonight said examining why the roommate didn't call, I did a video the other day, and it was the title of it was, why didn't she call 911? And I started the video off by saying, I have no idea. And if that's important to you, fine. And then I moved right past that because it's not important. Not to me. And if it's important to somebody else, you know who it's important to? The families.
Exactly. It is important to the families. I get that. In the meantime, we don't have any business, attacking this young lady. We need to wait till the evidence comes out, which leads me to my other point of also, again, listening to different channels, people criticizing the police because they didn't tell the truth about what evidence they have right from the get-go. Bullshit. Why?
Right.
Why would they give you that information? Oh, I know. So they can send the perpetrator off to another country. Therefore, there's no justice. People need to stop thinking about themselves and their own satisfaction and start thinking of others.
Look, I'm as fascinated by these cases as anybody. I am too. Asking questions isn't the bad part. It's the way that they are asked, and then when you get the answer, not accepting it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at, you know. And I've talked to a couple other channels that were doing a lot of bashing. And one channel, you know, they were like, okay, cool, you know, and they took heart to it. You know, of course I didn't call into their live, but I did it privately, a message.
Well, I was going to say, the host probably isn't as good.
No, they had toned it down.
I'm just kidding.
Pardon?
I said the host probably isn't as good, but I'm just kidding.
Actually, I really don't participate in many channels. Just because there are not very many hosts. I can count on one hand what channels I watch regularly.
Most of the shows suck on YouTube that are true crime.
Exactly. They really do. They really do. And it just always seems to be, you know, mob rules, basically. And the hosts just follow it. That's nonsense. That's part of why I like you and Chris, who are two of the ones I can count on one hand that I watch.
Well, see, that's why nobody else messes with us. What I mean by that is, like, we're not getting other YouTubers on. They don't ask to come on. They don't want to, because they all, whenever that happens, they don't want somebody to challenge their point of view. And there are, like I said, there are a handful out there that do critical thinking and, that I do respect and stuff like that. But for the most part, they don't want anything to do with me. They don't want anything to do with Chris. They don't want anything because I don't think like that.
Exactly. Right. And so I'm trying to talk my husband into doing a podcast, not of this nature, but something totally different. And I've had him actually watching yours as an example and guideline on how to go about starting his own.
Look, that's awesome.
Because I think you're wonderful with the way you do things and the way you handle your chats and your callers and the thought you put into each of your shows. Once in a while they go a little astray, but then, what doesn't? But I think you're a great example.
Thank you.
But again, I do think we need to really wait because there's so much more that we don't know that I know the police do know.
Oh, people want to charge her.
When they put that...
People want her charged.
And that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes me want to cry.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It is dumb.
And by the way, that's what they're getting at when they ask that question. That's what they're getting at. They are insinuating that there is something so nefarious. This is an inside job. They were blah, 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 blah. The questions that you're asking, you want certain answers, not you specifically, but the people that do this, they want the certain answers to the questions that they're asking. And if you don't answer it right, then you're an idiot. You're not a free thinker. You're an amendment, First Amendment abolisher, blah 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 blah. It's such a thing called humanity.
Exactly. And we don't know anything about the other surviving roommate.
Oh, no, well, no.
What that person may or may not have seen. That affidavit probably didn't even give a minuscule of evidence that they have.
Oh, I bet they have so much DNA now.
I bet so too. Because people don't think, this one little button of DNA. Well, DNA is not just left in blood form. It's left in sweat. It's left in saliva. It's left in skin cells.
Absolutely.
So, there's tons of DNA once they get down to it. And I bet they find even more and have more.
Yeah.
But they only put out what they absolutely had to secure that warrant.
And the DNA that they put out, the DNA evidence was single source DNA on the button of the sheath. Single source DNA, meaning that it's one person. Nobody took it. So if he shows up in court and goes, well, somebody stole my knife, and I go, well, if they did that, then why isn't their knife or their DNA on the button? Oh, I don't know, because it's all yours. 99.99999%. That it's nobody else's in the world. It's,
Right.
He's nailed to the wall. I really think he's nailed to the wall.
I really think he is too. Yep. But I'm not going to keep you on here, Josh.
I appreciate your call.
We've had plenty of your time. We've been on here a while.
Tell your husband I said hi.
I do want to know. Oh, I will. But I want you to know that I do have high respect for you, and I admire everything you have become. Because you were kind of having it rough when I first started watching you.
Yeah.
And you have really come a long way, and I'm very, very proud of you. I could.
No, was it you? Did you send an email to me? Somebody sent me an email that was saying something about that. They said that I had been down on myself, and
no, because see, doing calls is much easier for me. This is probably why you don't see me. I peace, love, and pugs in the chat or on YouTube. That's my what I go by. But I am a cancer victim. I lost my right shoulder to amputation to the cancer, and on my other hand, I only have 2 fingers and a thumb. I'm raising my pugs. I'm retraining myself how to do everything. Trying to help my husband who had a massive stroke last March, and raising grandkids.
Wow.
I don't slow down for much.
No, you don't.
But this is why I'm very choosy. I have a passion for people and humanity, and this is why I felt the urge to let you know how I felt about you personally, but also the situation of condemning the police and condemning this young lady. She's been through enough, and she still has so much more to go through.
You're right about that.
And we need to be supporting her, not bringing her down.
I agree. So, thank you so much for your call.
That's what I wanted to tell you. All right. Well, bye. Good night. Thank you, Josh. Bye-bye.
Great calls as always. I really appreciate when you guys call in and give your opinion. By the way, it just happens, I know there's some people out there that in the chat maybe even, or that are watching that do disagree with me. I have a very strong stance on this, and I just do. And I think that's, kind of what these shows are about. The host's opinion. Some people don't like it. Some people do. But I'm not gonna fence ride and go, well, I can see why people. I can't see why. I cannot see why. I really can't. And it's not gaslighting. It's not we're supposed to ask questions. Well, ask the ones that matter. Because that's not what's happening. Let's see here. Actually, I'm gonna try to read this article without blowing a gasket here, and it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough because I think that this is a weird one. Look at the title of this. Brian Koberger battled with cannibalistic urges, forensic psychiatrist. Okay, first of all, I'm not a forensic psychiatrist. But even for me, this is Newsweek. I'm surprised Newsweek. I don't know. I'm surprised that they ran this story. It's that dumb. Okay. I'm gonna have to take a drink of something. I don't drink whiskey, but I probably should. I don't drink anything at all. Diet Dr. Pepper, water, Diet Coke, sometimes regular, Coke Zero, and Capri Suns on occasion. The man charged in connections with the slaying of the 4 University of Idaho students battled with cannibalistic urges, a forensic psychiatrist told Newsweek. Brian Koberger, a 28-year-old PhD student and teaching assistant in the Department of Criminal Justice and Criminology at Washington State University, was arrested at his parents' home in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania on Friday. Koberger is accused. Yeah, we know what he's accused of. Let's talk about the stupid stuff that you... I already hate us here. In the days since the arrest, details about Koberger's life have emerged, including how he follows a strict vegan diet and has reportedly struggled with heroin addiction in the past. Forensic psychiatrist Carol Lieberman told Newsweek that Koberger's reported, quote, obsessive compulsive eating habits indicate he was afraid he would become addicted to meat if he ate it. Okay. All right, well, maybe that's true. Oh, my God. He was not only a vegan, he refused to eat off pots or plates that had meat on them. Psychologically, this represents his struggle against his cannibalistic urges, he said. He was afraid if he let him... I'm sorry. Okay, come on. Okay. He was afraid that if he let himself go taste meat once, he would become addicted to it, like he had become addicted to heroin and started killing and eating people. Okay, all right. A relative told New York Post last week that Koberger's dietary restrictions were very, very weird and that he seemed very OCD, referring to obsessive compulsive disorder. The woman who asked not to be named but said she was previously married into Koberger's family said it was above and beyond vegan. So apparently above and beyond vegan. So basically it's not just above and beyond vegan. It is a circular, it goes so far, like, you know, when like a really, really fat person steps on a scale and then it just keeps going and then it gets back to zero. That's what she's kind of insinuating that is happening in this situation. All right. To the women who asked not to be named, his aunt and uncle had to buy new pots and pans because he would not eat anything that had ever had meat cooked in them. Casey Arntz, who was friends with Koberger in middle school, said in a video posted on TikTok, and we love our TikTok, that he had been a heavy heroin user in high school. Koberger's struggles with drug addiction continued into his college years. A friend from Northampton Community College told Fox News Koberger has been held without bond. Eager to be exonerated. Anyway, that was such a, oh my God. Even if that's true, which I don't know what would indicate that other than, all right, here we go. You guys ready? Is she right about Brian Koberger? It's broken. I can't see. So what did I say? Is she right or is she wrong? I don't remember what I said. Let me say, is she right about Brian Koberger? Most certainly not. I've never seen that one before. 100% no. She sounds crazy. Where'd I get this A-ball from?
see here. Okay. I'm just asking. It's all right to ask, isn't it?
Suspect Brian Koberger is behind bars after investigators linked his DNA at the crime scene to the DNA taken from the trash at his parents' home. To help explain how this all works, I want to bring in genetic genealogist Cece Moore. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Well, so many questions here, Cece. So, investigators claim that DNA analysis linked to the Idaho murder suspect Brian Koberger started with a sample of DNA from his trash belonging to the Koberger's father. How exactly does this work?
I'm not convinced that it started with that. I still think it's
If you guys need help, I got the 8-ball.
very possible that
Not an 8-ball, the magic 8-ball. And not that kind of magic 8-ball. Not the Gary Busey stuff.
investigative genetic genealogy was used to point them in his direction, or after they received the tip about the car, it may have helped them to vet that tip and to determine that he actually was, his family tree was consistent with the DNA sample from the knife sheath. They don't have to include everything in the affidavit, and genetic genealogy should not be used for the basis of an arrest. So in my opinion, it would be proper that they left that out. So I think it's very likely there's a lot more to this story yet to come out, but either way, it ended up with them following him to his parents' home and doing what we call a trash pull. This has happened in lots of my cases as well. They have to collect that surreptitious DNA and compare that to their crime scene DNA before they can arrest anyone. In this case, there were multiple people in the home. They wouldn't have known exactly whose DNA it was until they were testing it. And they found that male DNA that ended up being the father of the person who left the DNA behind on the knife sheath. And so that is a standard paternity test. That's the type of test that's been accepted in courtrooms for decades to establish paternity. So that is very, very high confidence.
Well, we saw investigators remove what looks to be bed frames and actually the mattress of the bed, and it appeared to have bloodstains on it. Can you kind of point out what exactly investigators are looking for?
This was such an incredibly horrible crime scene, and we're learning more and more all the time, that I think it's very likely there's additional DNA from Brian at that scene. They have told us about the DNA on the sheath of the knife. Now, that was probably touch DNA. Could have been blood, but most likely touch DNA.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to find glasses when you're not wearing them? Oh, found them. Okay, thank you.
Wouldn't be at all surprised if he left additional DNA behind. We know from the witness statement that at least his eyebrows were showing, and it sounds like his hair wasn't even covered. So he may have left hair behind as well, which also contains DNA. And advancements in technology have meant we can get quite a lot of information from even a rootless hair now. So I think both they and the defense are scouring that crime scene to see what else is there. I'm a little confused about why those mattresses are being moved right now and who exactly is doing that and the method that they're doing that. But I think there's been a lot of work on that crime scene already, gathering any possible physical evidence to, in the prosecution's case, try to support their case, and in the defense's case, to try to find somebody else's DNA that they can try to pin this crime on.
So many questions. So they're at the crime scene. Well, if you could kind of explain actually how DNA really works, finding that at the crime scene. Is it spit? Is it, we know it's semen, we know it's, which wasn't left at the crime scene. We know it can be fingerprints, footprints, but what else can it be?
Everywhere we go, we leave our DNA behind. And because technology has advanced to be so sensitive now, we are able to detect that DNA. Even if someone doesn't leave behind the optimal DNA sample, which would be blood,
it really
semen, or even
Dude,
saliva.
I'm not even kidding. This thing, let me see. It's broken. You have to really give it a good shimmy. See? Can't even.
can leave their skin cells. They can leave their hair. They can leave a hair from their leg even. All of these things contain the blueprint that makes us unique. And that means that each of us has...
Yeah, that's another thing with that article. They're saying, oh, well, he took these extreme steps to not become a meat eater and then a cannibal, but he didn't take extreme steps to not be a psychotic mass murderer who kills people with knives when he assumes that they're sleeping, even though it sounds like they weren't sleeping. So he did. Crap. He did a really, really good job. Can we? I don't want to see the mattress.
Technology have meant we can get quite a lot of information from even a rootless hair now. So I think both they and the defense are scouring that crime scene to see what else is there. I'm a little confused about why those mattresses are being moved right now and who exactly is doing that and the method that they're doing that. But I think there's been a lot of work on that crime scene already, gathering any possible physical evidence to, in the prosecution's case, try to support their case, and in the defense's case, to try to find somebody else's DNA that they can try to pin this crime on.
So many questions. So they're at the crime scene. Well, if you could kind of explain actually how DNA really works, finding that at the crime scene, is it spit?
So what I heard is that while they're accommodating his like he's eating like peanut butter and jelly and crap like that, but that if he's convicted, like they don't like he's going to be eating tube steak.
Is it? We know it's semen. We know it's which wasn't left at the crime scene.
Because technology has advanced to be so sensitive now, we are able to detect that DNA, even if someone doesn't leave behind the optimal
and
DNA
my hair's
sample,
not blonde. It's dirty brown. Nice try.
Blood, semen, or even saliva. They can leave their skin cells. They can leave their hair. They can leave a hair from their leg even. All of these things contain the blueprint that makes us unique. And that means...
Hey, Brian, it's time for lunch. We got your favorite raw liver from a cow that possibly had anthrax. Enjoy.
That each of us has unique DNA unless we have an identical twin, and therefore we can be identified by that. Now, if someone is in the law enforcement database because they've committed another violent crime and been caught, then that's pretty easy. They just do a 1-to-1 comparison with 20 genetic markers. They create that profile in the crime lab. If they don't get that match, they can send that DNA out to an advanced lab to create a much more in-depth profile.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider.
Yeah, I don't think he has any aunts and uncles in the, we're getting porn bombed. No. Teresa got him quick. And then she was unhidden. Hidden, now unhidden. Come on, guys. That was funny. That was like the first thing I saw when I... This is 8-ball. Okay. I'll take a couple questions for the Magic 8-ball and then we'll move on. All right. So don't inundate me with them. I think that's debatable. I'd feed him boiled rat. No, thank you. I don't care what he eats as long as he's behind bars. Yeah, I don't really either. It's like the weird. It's the weird little deliver. Yeah. All right, who's got a question for the 8-ball? All right, are ghosts real? It is decidedly so. Okay. All right, here's a good one. Will Brian get the death penalty? You really got to give it a... Says outlook good. Maybe this thing does work. Maybe this is real. All right, kids, I have church tomorrow. Don't tell them about the 8-ball session. That was all my doing. Okay. Yeah, tube steak. Let me see. I do. I have to get out the flashlight. 8-ball is right. Was Brian buying drugs at the house previously? Don't count on it. I don't know. Did Peyton... Don't count on it. Nah, I didn't fix it. I don't need an Amazon wish list. I got one. It works. Karen Baz wants to know if she calls in too much. Okay, let's see. We'll ask that one too. Says reply hazy, try again. Oh, God. Yeah. Hold on. My tarot cards got lost in the mail. Give me 1 second here. Sorry. I thought I... Peyton. Let me see. Let me intercom him real quick. Hold on. I don't think... Oh, crap. I don't think that... I really did. I absolutely hated that. All right,
Well, let's go ahead and bring in Tracy Walter, former CIA officer and FBI agent. Tracy, thank you so much for being here.
Wait a minute. Did you did fix the monitor, right? Because it's glitching, but it's better.
I fixed it.
You did. Did you test it?
Yeah.
How much did you test? Did you test it a lot?
I tested it a necessary amount of times.
What's that? What do you consider a necessary amount of times? Like, was it still glitching? Because now I got a rotten monitor and a crappy 8-ball that's not telling me anything.
No, I'd say 5 times is a necessary amount.
Peyton, come on, man. You're supposed to do it until it's... Was it still glitching?
No. Okay, maybe just a little bit.
Why didn't you just say that?
Listen, it was fine when I was doing it. Must have gotten worse over time.
Must have gotten weird. But so you didn't check it right before the show. You checked it after the last show, but you didn't check it this show? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
But I didn't know that was like the responsibility. I thought I was supposed to do it after the show, not before the show.
I think what you should have done, and this is just me if I was doing your job, is I would have made sure that it was working before the show.
Okay, well, lesson learned, I guess.
Lesson learned? How many times do I have to teach you lessons on the air? Seriously, how many times? Come on.
I don't see you teach me a lesson on the air. I think you're just, reaming me.
I'm not reaming you. I'm asking you. And by the way, I should have asked, you know what? Here's where I faltered, okay? Here's where I faltered. I should have asked you, hey, did you check it before? But I can't think of that. Like, that's not in my head at the time. That's your job, right?
Yeah.
Get on your game.
Huh?
Get on your game.
I feel like I'm on my game.
Get on your game.
All right.
You're not on your game. Get on your game.
I really feel like I'm on my game.
Well, everybody loves you here, so just get on your game.
All right.
All right?
Yeah, man.
Okay. All right. You good? You're angry.
All right?
Are you angry with me?
I'm not angry with you. I think you're angry with me.
I'm not angry with you.
If you ask you, maybe you should do a poll.
I'm not going to do a poll, but what I should do, well, like, people want to see the lightsaber. Is that something you can make happen?
People want to see the lightsaber?
Yeah, so what you do is you put the light and then come through the studio door and stand behind me and wave it a couple times.
The people can see the lightsaber.
Well, okay, so did you hear what I just said?
Yep.
Okay. Saddle up. Thanks, Peyton. Bye. So he kind of fixed it, but he kind of didn't. Everybody's, be nice, be nice. He's getting a little, like, he's fighting back. No, there's okay, fine. I don't. All right, we'll do a poll. You guys want to do a poll? We'll do a poll. I haven't done a poll. Let's do a poll. Any minute he's going to come through that. If he hits me with that lightsaber, I'm going to be pissed. Start a poll. Okay. Oh, God. There. Poll's up. Just come in. Do you have it lit? Do you have it lit up? So there it is. Ow! Stop! That hurt. Ow! Stop! Anyway. That hurt. We need a third option. How about the third option is to just don't vote? Oh, man. He's great. I love him, too. He's a great kid. Sometimes we fight about the show. It happens, guys. It happens, all right? You're always so angry with him. He hit me with his lightsaber. So, sometimes I get angry with him. It's all right. It's part of the show, guys. It's part of the show, He produces the show. Sometimes I have to ask him. He's a great kid. He's the best kid. Honestly, I couldn't ask for a better kid.
Suck a muckagus.
I could, but they wouldn't give me one. All right, so now that I've ruined your eardrums, everybody have a great night.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
There is not, really? This to me.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I had to put her on the side.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
There is not, really? This to me.
Simmer down, ladies. He's taken.
Right. Idiot.
Thank you guys for being here.
It's hard, that's real tough.
But I had to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
There is not, really? This to me. But I had to put her on the side and worry about the boys. But I had to.
There is no investigation.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I had to put her. But I had to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
Suckamuckagus. Rhinoceros.
Josh Birnbaum, step on up. Get on the scale, son. All right. Get off the scale.
I could go into heavy detail, and I will. And I will go into heavy detail.